closes, it's going to close right up. It's going to enter us in at 55 even. We've got a little bit of a area in here where it's completely congested. In fact, the whole area is completely congested. All right. Well, so much for that.
Order filled.
Still wouldn't mind taking this long. Just going for 4. So we've got some wicks that are touching our previous day's line at 53.50. And at this point in time, we've got some decidedly bullish buying going on. We've come down quite a bit lower. I'm going to give it a go. It comes back up. Just looking for 4. What time is it? 9:05. 9:15 is going to bother me, but if it makes it up a little bit higher,
Order filled.
not too bad. Let's see what happens here. I don't live to regret it. A little bit of room up to the top. There's one tick. Come on, one little push. Right back up above the line. So anyway, anyone have any questions on anything in particular they want me to talk about? Market's really, really quiet. Come on, don't get too far down there. So the delta switched over. It was a nice 3-bar, 1, 2, 3 bars, most of the bars outside of the box. So our NASDAQ is telling us that it wants to come up a little bit higher. You can see how it's kind of pushing up and it's kind of moving up into this little zone. If it comes up, there's a good chance that the ES is going to follow through. Remember, nothing ever goes straight in one direction. You always got a little bit of a pullback. So if the NASDAQ takes out its low down in this little zone before we become profitable, then we're in trouble. But you know, there's more room up to the swing where it came up, it broke down from. Maybe there's a chance in here. It's still okay, I guess. It's if it gets much beyond 9:15, I don't want it anymore. Ed, how you feeling? Missed you the last couple of days. You feeling better? Oh, don't come down. I don't want you to take out this ledge. There we go. Come on back up. So I'm just, it's not going anywhere. Well, if you let me out, I'll give you 4. We're just down 1 trade. It's holding in around this little line right there. It should have gone back up from here if lets me out, I'll just take a 4-tick loser. Of course. How about you come up? I'll give you another 4.
Target filled.
All right, so we're in the hole a little bit to start off. I thought for sure this was going to come back up. Maybe I should have been using my offsets over here. I don't think it would have given me the first target though, even if I had gone back 3 or 4, but it is what it is. All right, so let's wait for the market to open. We'll see if we can claw that back. I thought for sure that was going to work out good. But them's the breaks. All right. So we got Powell testifying at 10 o'clock. And he hasn't testified. He testifies twice a year before Congress. And the last time that he testified, it was the Democrats in charge. So the news article that I was reading on Reuters was saying that they believe that there's going to be a wide range of questions asked because it's a different party in charge. And they are going to, I assume, grill him for the fact that interest rates are as high as they are. He really doesn't have that much of a choice. I mean, what other tools does he have? He can increase interest rates some more to try to curb inflation. And we might get a signaling that there's another round of interest rates going up. If that happens, then the stock market's going to take a bit of a beating. Now, they've come up quite a bit the last little bit compared to, we came down, now we've retraced all the way back up. Is there another leg down? Possibly. We'll see what ends up happening with the testifying. Remember one thing though, you are going to be in trend mode if the market goes a little bit haywire. And if you're in trend mode, our 12-tick stop becomes a little bit on the tight side. So try to stick with the trend-based trades. If you can get them near support and resistance, they're even better. And try to make more than just the 4 and the 8 on the trades. That way it gives you a little bit of a fighting chance to come back out of it. If you're just taking 4 all the time, yeah, but you got to be really proficient because one trade is going to wipe out a few of your trades. So nice little jaunt up, didn't follow through, gave us one lousy tick and came down. I closed it early. I didn't think that it was going to be going back up. Took a medium loss instead of a full one. Let's see what happens here. If this closes up, we get a robot box. It should be interesting to see what happens.
Remember to hit your pause button.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, right now, I wouldn't mind taking a short if it came up, but the problem is that the time of day is getting a little bit late. So we're just doing our thing over here. So for support and resistance lines, we've got R1 sitting up here at the top. Notice that yesterday we traded a ton right at 75, 75, 40, 75, 75. That's just before R1. So this area up here is going to be a solid place to take a counter trend if it comes up this far. Down on the bottom side, we've got our low sitting down around 42. Everything else is kind of choppy. We've got a zone in here where we've got 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch around 63.75. And that area in here has got the volume. It doesn't have a peak as clean as it is up at the top, but it's kind of in the vicinity over here. We'll see what happens. Normally, they go in the opposite direction of where they want to go to load up and make their way up from where it is where they're at. So that's what they normally do. And we'll see if they follow through with that this time around. Anyone have any questions? Kind of in limbo at the moment. There's nothing. We've had one trade up here. It was near the POC. The POC's been dancing up and down all over the place over here. So I don't know if I would take this. And we've got boxes all over the place here. At least it was trending. So you've got one here. We got another one there. Here, by here, I mean at 1 o'clock yesterday. We've had almost nothing in the overnight. No extreme pushes. All the robot boxes all next to each other should indicate that we need to be careful. So now we're at the bottom of these two robot boxes. We'll wait for it to make it down all the way down here. But the market's got to open first, so we'll see where it goes. So we had a bunch of selling, selling, selling. One solid green bar that got me in. And now we're back down to selling again. I'm just going to take a 1 minute break. Be right back. Usually in my office, I have a blanket, and it wasn't, I looked over, I didn't find it. I'm feeling a little bit cold. And I went to the family room. Blanket wasn't over there. I realized that I had left it in the living room. So I found it.
Morning, Tony. I was looking at the dome.
Mm-hmm.
The dome over at 4050.
Yep.
He's got
231.
231.
Yeah.
Is that going to draw down the draw short, or is it going to just make no difference? I mean,
So a lot of times when there's a big number of orders sitting at a certain price, it will draw the price down that way. There's I wrote a trading system for a gentleman in Germany a few years back, and he wanted me to tally up all the people that were on the short side and all the people that were on the long side as far up as we could go. If there was more than two times the number of people on one side than the other, he would want to take a short if there were more longs than there were shorts, and vice versa. He'd want to go long. So the theory was that if there's lots of orders down there, they're going to come down and get them. Look at where that number is, right? That 4050, that the 4050 number is kind of like a whole number. A whole number of 4,000 or 3,900 or 4,100. It's not as strong as as a whole number, but we actually have a few lines at that number at the moment. So yesterday's value area is sitting right in that zone. So there would be orders sitting there. Let me move that up. So if I stretch that out and up, where is yesterday's value? Right here. So, or a POC. There was a POC from a couple of days back. Yeah, this POC sitting there. Just below it. And here, this guy here is from 2 days back. There's no real structure anywhere here in and around the 50, other than the fact that 50 is kind of that psychological number. I've got two lines here between 49 and 48. Remember too that it's before the market actually opens. So they do make the odd move pushing down, but look how long it's taken for it to make its way down from 56. I mean, it's almost been 20 minutes, 21 minutes from where it started. It's moving very, very slowly today.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I just was thinking it doesn't really mean anything. It's just there and it relates to something to the left, but not.
Yeah. To the left, I've got this area over here. I mean, we've got the bottom of the robot boxes, but they extend a little bit lower than the 50, right?
Right.
It could be an extension. Maybe they're taking a range and they're pushing it out that far. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Could it be a fib? Hold on.
Okay.
So if we use the drawing tools and we do the extensions, so I do from here to here to, oops, this is not the right one, to there. So you've got an extension down here to 51. So maybe they're, so whenever you have a pullback, you take your fib tool, you draw it down and you pull it back to your retracement level. And then you've got the extensions, right? So 100% move from here to there is sitting at 51. So maybe that's what the number is. I don't know. It's making its way down there though. I traded the fib system for years and years and years. I never really made money with it. In fact, I lost more money than I made with it. Sometimes they worked like a charm, and sometimes it's like, forget the system. But there's enough people that trade those fibs to make it worthwhile paying attention to a number. I'm finding that it's way easier and way more profitable just to wait for a double bottom or a double top. Just trade those zones. Because when you're right, you can get a little bit bigger target. So we punched all the way down to 50.75. Yeah, it didn't make it all the way down to the 50. I know trading right now is the riskiest time because the market just runs a little bit on the slow side. And when Ed talks about time of day not being good, this is what we're referring to. The market's not moving terribly great. You just get in and it's like that last trade that I took. I thought for sure it was going to bounce back up into the range over there. Yeah, comes back down. I only gave one tick. So just be careful in and around this time. If it's after 9:30 and you see the numbers, that'd be a different story, right? All the all the computers are in play and they're out to get us. So those numbers might be a little bit more important then. Remember that what they'll do is they'll tally up the number of contracts that are to the bottom side, see how much it's going to cost for them to get down there. And then they're going to load up down there, and then they're going to force it back up in the other direction. So they'll go to the side that's got the most amount of contracts. It'd be nice to get a box over here so we can kind of trade, kind of have a structure to deal with down here. At least a recent structure as opposed to one that's from yesterday at 3 o'clock. I can't see these people still being here. Right, 2-3 hours back, likely they'll still be there. But as soon as you go further than that, then you're relying on a whole bunch of people seeing the place where it is that you want to be getting in and hopping on. So if we look at the NASDAQ, our highs are always getting lower. So we had it here. This is the only time it came up. It was like the stop run. This is where I tried to get in. Came down, a lower high, and now we're kind of going sideways. So we use the NASDAQ as an indicator. The ES on a smaller chart is kind of doing the same thing. Let me move this out of the way. Right. Lower high, lower high, lower high. A little bit higher. We're kind of going sideways now. And it's likely just waiting for the news. All right. Is what it is. Four minutes till it starts. So if we're going to get anything, we're probably wiser to get it done sooner than later. There is no other news other than the 10 o'clock Congress discussion. So Robert, your 208 contracts are still sitting down there.
Yeah, but I'm paused, waiting for 7:30.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to talk about what can happen, et cetera, when they're not really doing anything. We finally punched out of the range that we were in, which is a good thing. We've got this little wick that we've taken out at 51. Next level down near 48. Did they trade the 50? Missed them by 2 ticks.
Just kind of watching that bar, and it stays with long wicks. It goes flat, which is not the right word for it, but anyway, it's trying to push down, and then you see all those negative numbers, but you don't see how much buying it's going out on the right of the dough.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, what I just said?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, there's definitely a lot more people buying now than normal. Usually it would be a little bit on the quieter side, but it's not going anywhere.
That minus 400 number or 300 number, 372, something. That's red beside the bar to the right.
You mean
That's
this
showing
number?
strong selling, right?
this number here, the minus 200, almost minus 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, that number is telling us that they're mostly selling so far, but they're holding, they're in a range. So you need to take that number with a grain of salt, right? What is it actually doing? If you're paying attention to it, right, they're still in the range. You know, they peaked out the bottom and they're still in the range. Yeah, selling happened, but they're still in the range. They haven't broken out. And this is a quasi robot box. I mean, we missed it by just one bar up and down. So if it comes out the top, there's a good chance that it's going to come right back into the range.
So are there contracts being bought that we can't see? Is that a good way to put it?
So
what keeps it so flat?
So right now, you look at the volume. We've traded 15,000 contracts on this bar, right? 15,000 contracts, and they're almost 50% buys and 50% sells. We're just a little bit higher on the selling at the moment than we are on the buying. So the NASDAQ's breaking down. This thing should follow suit. Oh, no, never mind. Oh, did it open? Oh, market's open. There it goes. All right, let's see what happens. Are they going to come down, pick them up? They're actually there, the guys at 50 still. We'll see if they get picked up and if it runs up or not. We definitely we got selling going on over here. They're holding it. So that last bar, 15,000 contracts. Actually, 23,000 contracts. 20 something anyway. That's a lot of contracts. And meandering its way down a little bit lower. Try it long here if it closes up. We're in and around this whole area. We're double bottoming in this little zone. If it closes up, I'm going to try it long for 4. I should change this to be a our NASDAQ came up a little bit higher than the prior swing, and now it's in the middle again. Yeah, this is going to close down. So a bunch of buying happened there. We've got a legitimate 3-bar sitting in these lines right here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, 113 buys. The NASDAQ makes a little bit higher high, then comes back into the range. A little bit higher high, but comes back into the range. Okay, let's adjust our lines down here at the bottom. We're expanding the range, so finally the
order filled. Order submitted.
The POC is going to move
order filled
itself up, and the value area high and the value area lows are going to be a little bit higher. Okay. Order sitting at 51.75. Still got some buying going on. The guys that bought at 50 are looking pretty so far. 500 on the buy side. We need one more push. They came within 2 ticks of my target. Get up there, you. The delta is increasing. We've had 2 steady bars of buying, but it's still pushing down. It's pushing and it's holding in and around those 2 purple lines that we have over here. You know what? If this thing comes up, it's going to go up a little bit higher than just the 4. I'm going to try to take 6. There's 2. Make up your mind, will you? NASDAQ's inching its way higher. It goes up and comes back in. Goes up and comes back in.
Tony, am I seeing that correctly? You've got that on a 20 tick stop?
No. No. Where does it say 28 ticks? Stop. I got
well,
12.
The 12,420 is what I'm asking. Yeah.
So it's 12 tick target, 4 and 2. I'm missing the 2 in front of that. Right? 12 tick stop, 4 ticks for the first contract, 20 for the second.
Target filled. Target filled.
Okay, so that's recovery on that first contract, on that first trade. And I'm going to put this back on, see if it retraces. So that got me out. I got 6 ticks. I entered in at 50.75. That got me out at 52.25. How high did we go? Oh, just we got out 1 tick lower than the high. I'll change this for tomorrow so that it reads properly. It should have a 2 in front of it. Mislabeled. You know, hard to get good help, Leaf.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
All right, so we've had a little bit of a push up, and it's kind of, we've got a little bit of a structure here that we're bouncing off of. It'd be nice to have this thing come back up, touch our blue line that we had previously and have it close down. We'll try to take a retrace back down to the bottom where we came from. It's having a hard time making its way up. And I'd like to get done by 9:45 if it does this. Otherwise, we have to wait till it settles itself down after 10:15.
So since the market is a little non-cooperative this morning, you and I had began a conversation about why the bot turns off whenever you make a manual trade using Ninja. Do you have time to talk about that or no?
When you take a manual trade, it turns off. But when you say manual trade, are you talking about the trades up here? Because I take manual trades. I don't see that happening.
Right. I'm talking about the buttons up at the top, or if you were to do a close or something like that,
So
then there's
if you're in a trade that the auto trader took, you've got two ways of closing that trade. You can click the flatten button, and that does not affect the auto trader. The auto trader will close it. The auto trader knows only of the trades that it takes itself. So if it's taken a short and you want to close it early, you click the flatten button, you can close it. But if you've used any of the buttons up here at the top, right, it doesn't know about those entries. And you should pause it, wait for that trade to finish before that you take another trade. Now, are you saying that if you just come up here and arbitrarily click the sell button, it's going to, so if you come down here at the bottom and you arbitrarily take a trade, you know what, let me do this. I want this one, okay? So if I arbitrarily come up here at the top and I sell this order, right? We'll try it. If it comes up a little bit higher, it's kind of in a sideways pattern, I'll try to take a short with it. But I've not experienced it crashing if I click the sell market. Does it happen every time?
I'm not saying it's crashing. I'm just saying that, okay, so if you do, a sell or a buy market using those buttons up there, and then you go, okay, well, I'm going to close this trade prematurely before it hits target or stop. I find that the trader shuts down.
Okay, so whenever you hit the close button in NinjaTrader,
correct.
If you hit the close button, the NinjaTrader close button, this one here, right? It's going to stop the auto trader. And if you haven't taken your screenshots before that you click that close button, you're going to lose everything that's there, right? So the close button is a NinjaTrader safety feature that allows us to stop the auto trader from doing anything more. It closes any trades in that account and stops all of the auto traders that are running, all the strategies that are running that particular account. So in the rare event that the auto trader takes a trade and the flatten button doesn't work, you would have to hit the close button. But know that if you click the close button, it's going to stop the auto trader and you'd have to restart it.
So if I enter a manual trade not using the auto trader,
yeah,
then
and you click close, it's going to stop it.
What is the recommended way to exit that trade if I want to get out early?
Okay, so if you're in a trade and you want to get out of a trade, and whether the auto trader took it or not, right, you can do one of a couple of things. You can take the order and grab your target and move it into price. So if you go to the dome, right, again, here's your dome, right? So you take a particular trade, and here you just grab the stop, move it into the yellow line, or you grab your target, move it into the yellow line. That gets you out. That's one way of getting out. The other way of getting out is for it naturally to either hit the target or the stop. Third way of getting out, if the auto trader took the trade, you can click the flatten button. In the rare event that it doesn't close the trade, you can use the close button. But know that if you click the close button, you can expect the auto trader to stop. The other thing that you can do, equivalent to clicking the close button, is right-click on the dome right here, and you can cancel. You can flatten everything. This stops all auto traders. You can cancel all pending orders. That's another option that we have. It didn't come up high enough. I kind of wanted to take that short over here, but didn't work. Now I've got a 3-bar in the opposite direction, which I'm not crazy about taking at the moment. We've got a double bottom sitting right here. So if Ed's listening, he probably has an order sitting right here, anticipating a 4-tick bounce. I'm going to wait for it to trade down. If it closes up, I'll try it long. But it needs to close up. And I would prefer, let me grab my line over here. Let's duplicate that line. So I clicked on it once, it's got a bubble. I'm going to my keyboard, I'm clicking Control C to copy, and then I'm doing Control V for Victor to paste it. I'm going to grab that line, I'm going to move it here. And I'm going to do a discretionary long right now.
Order filled.
Okay, so there's my order. I'm going to have a very tight stop. If it doesn't work, I'm going to grab my stop. I'm going to move it right underneath that candle. I'm looking for 4 ticks. It's given me 2 so far. 3 actually. Just missed me by a tick. If I'm wrong, I've got a very small stop. It's double bottomed, kind of pushing up. There it comes.
Target filled.
So I didn't wait for the order to be, for the bar to actually close. It's not, I'm on trend only. It's not going to take it. And I don't want to take it halfway up the bar with the POC sitting right above me. So I don't want it here. I took it down a little bit lower with lots of room. And in fact, I'm out even before that it gets to the top. It's always good to have a little bit of headroom before you get to the POC. And look at this bar is going to end up closing down. You stinkers.
Order filled.
So one thing about support and resistance, if you take a look at the way that we draw our lines near the double bottoms and the double tops, you will always find that when price gets to those lines, very rarely does it slice right through them. And this is Ed's theory. Ed's theory says, okay, rarely is it going to slice right through it. And if it does, you take your 5, 6 tick stop and it's done. But a lot of times it's going to come and it's either going to give you 1 or 2 ticks worth of heat and come back up, or it can do what it just did there, where it came down, it double bottomed, it went up 6 or 7 ticks, right? And then came down. Well, if you get in close to that level, well, then your stop is very, very small. If you're trading with a bigger bar, like we are with the 10 range, and you're waiting for it to close, filled. Well, now you would be getting in, but it's already traveled 2.5 points. Is it going to continue to travel? Well, probably. And there's our, I think maybe 1 more tick will give us our 4 ticks, but I've already made it from the bottom, right? With a much smaller stop, because if this doesn't work, right, I don't want to take a $300 loss. I'm going to take it down close to the double bottom. So I'm sitting at $75 for the day.
Target filled.
Let's see if it makes its way back up to that green line where we shorted from, and we get a 3 bar. Absolutely. Let's participate on the way back down. And I'm going to try and get a little bit bigger target than just the 8. What time is it? 9:46. Okay, so it's getting late. I don't want to do anything after early 9:50. So I'm just going to be patient. Some pretty big orders have gone through, not hundreds. Let me adjust my chart. All right. So that POC's living up to its reputation. You notice how it came up, danced around it again, and we're right back down. Oh, we got a nice little robot box sitting over here. Now, this is not a typical robot box that we're looking at. If you look at it, you want the robot box to look like this, up, down, up, as opposed to a bar that closes and another bar that closes a little bit lower, and a bar that closes a bit lower. I mean, this is fulfilling the 4 bars with the 10 ticks in the range, but this is a much better structure than that. And the we'll probably get a navy bar coming out of this little zone, but I'm not counting it as a navy bar. This is not a true box. If it manages to make itself up over that blue line, or trade anywhere between the blue line and our blue dashed line, which is that POC from the prior day, and this dashed
Stop
line
filled.
up here at the top. If it trades anywhere in there and closes down, it's going to take, I'm going to let it take a trade. So it's trading up over it. Let's see what happens with the delta.
Order filled.
A little deep, but I'm going to try it anyway. It made it all the way up through the range, and we're still, it's 950.
Order filled.
Let's see what it does.
Order filled.
All right, thank you very much. Let me out safely. Right into the POC, Tony. Come on, slice on through it. So the delta is increasing over here. Not a good sign. But we're still below that little ledge. And 950 something or other it would probably stay in a little bit of a zone before that they testify. I'd like to see it come back down. Come on. No, don't leave me completely in the hole again. So it came up close to where it was before. NASDAQ's at the bottom side of its range. If I look at it, see how it's at the bottom side of its range? It's made it a little high up, but it hasn't come right back up to challenge that area. It's got lots of room down here at the bottom to make it down a little bit lower. And we're kind of in the same pattern over here. So it should come down. Please and thank you. It's getting late. Come on, down. Still buying going on with the delta. And it looks like that POC is holding. We double bottomed on it with this candle here. We one tick lower. Come on, just punch on through. There's a little bit of room there. That's it. Come on down. There's 3. Asking for just one more lousy tick beyond where you went. Here, I printed it. No fill. printed it twice actually, on the close and on the open of the bar of on the 233. It came down, traded on both of those. 39 contracts traded there. I'm getting
Well,
worried.
Tony, I only took
It's
two
getting too
ticks
close.
and got mine.
Say that again, please.
Target
Okay,
filled.
I just moved myself to break even. I'm not going to play the game here. It's getting late. I'm going to pause it. So from here on out, be really, really, really careful. The market's going to play games and it's going to stay sideways. And the last thing you want is for there to be a big spike and you get caught in a spike when you don't, you're not expecting it. Remember, just because you've got a stop order at the high of the bar that you're on doesn't mean that that's where you're going to be getting out. All the stop order says is when price trades at the level where our red line is, just put a market order to get me out. So if there's a spike, you know, it's all based on who is in front of us. So if we've got 100 people in front of us, right, and maybe it's shooting up and there aren't any people wanting to buy a tick above us or another tick below us, above us, beyond that, we're in queue and we were going to get out wherever it is that the market deems to be the best available, well, the current available price. So try not to trade before the time when you're actually going to be getting news. Right. So I took a break even in here. It printed 4. No shame in taking a break even. It should have printed me. It should have filled me. It traded on my number. It didn't go. And I'm sitting here. I'm waiting for this thing to finish. You know what? Forget it. I even used an offset of 0. It didn't help. Had I used a little bit bigger offset, it probably would have made a difference, but it's all right. So we're going to wait till a few minutes after the news until he starts jabbering away. We'll see whether or not the market flies around or not. And if it does, okay, so there would have been my target if I had sat in it, but it retraced all the way back up to 53 from where I got in. That's all right. Trade on the error on the side of caution. So I've got one scratched trade, which I basically broke even on. I have one that I took that was the $175 loser that I got out sooner. I was hoping it was going to let me out at $100, but it didn't move, and I ended up moving my my target down to -8, and it ended up filling me. William, if your 30-minute chart has stopped moving, create a brand new one. See if it's still going.
Order filled.
So I'm looking at my 30-minute chart over here, and they're meandering between the POC and this little stretch in here. You would think that it's going to be bad news, what it is that he's going to be saying. So I would have thought that the market would have been up higher so that they could load up with contracts to have it go, or maybe they're just they're going low because they want to push it up and not have anybody participate or trick everybody into going long from where they're at. And then at some point they're going to put on the brakes and just put it into reverse and just scream it all the way back down to the same area that we've been in last week. Remember, if you take a look at your 30-minute chart, just like we do on our current charts, pay attention to what the lows are doing and the highs are doing, right? We've had higher high, I'm sorry, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. This is the first break of the higher low. And if you count this bar right here, we're still higher than our most recent low. So the last little bit, we've been on a march straight up. Okay, we're in our 10 o'clock no trade zone. Yeah, for you new folks, remember the background when it turns gray, it's because we tell it not to trade. We don't want to be trading in and around 10 o'clock. It's usually a time when the market kind of moves erratically. We want it to be moving nice and smooth, right? We don't want bars sandwiched like this, like a hamburger right next to each other, right? Yeah, Ed says that this is a launching pad. That's fine, but we prefer to be trading like this, where the bars are mostly unencumbered. Right? As soon as they start doing this with the big wicks and stuff, we're going to get ourselves into grief. All right, so
Stop
now we
filled.
go down. Let's let the shenanigans finish. Right down to our previous yellow line. That yellow line is the wicks in that little section.
Order filled.
A day and a half back.
Stop filled.
Let's expand that
Order
out.
target
See where
filled.
it goes. Okay, first
Order
place that we
filled.
can possibly bounce is here near S1. We're going to let it take our counters,
Order
not
filled.
counters, trend trade short. I'm going to put it back to an offset of 1, and we'll see what happens.
Stop filled.
So if the market's really going to crash and burn, we're not going to get too many chances
Order
at
filled.
getting
Order
into
filled.
the trade to hold it, right? So we need to be careful about where we're going. If you want to
Stop
jump in
filled.
on a failed 3BR, wait for the market to calm down before that you do. We don't want to get caught flat-footed here with the market screaming down, and you get in and it just doesn't continue to go down. Okay, a good place to try to get short is here near S1.
Order filled.
Making a robot box give us a reason to go long.
Order filled. Order filled. Order filled. Target filled. Order filled.
All right, so we got a little bit of buying up here. A good place is
Order
S1
filled.
to try to hop on short.
Order filled.
Okay, so now we've got a structure with a momentum bar. Kind of thinking short, but I'd like it to come up higher. That was a proper 5 box. No distance between
Order
it. Didn't make it
submitted.
into its
Order
new 5
filled.
box.
Order
It
canceled.
should have been trading
Order
up above it in
canceled.
here if it did.
Order submitted. Order
Okay,
filled.
double bottom right here. Some would take
Target
that long.
filled.
So we would have gotten in at 30 quarter. It gave 4 ticks. That was it. Okay. Breaking down. So the bars are finally nice and clean.
Order submitted.
So these blue lines are here from yesterday.
Order
What do
filled.
we have to the right that's of interest for us? I'm not doing anything here. I just want to short if it comes up high enough. I don't want it to otherwise. So we've broken down over this ledge right here. So we're this is a crash and burn area. And we've got S2 sitting below us. Our next line over here, let me grab this blue line, this purple
Order
line, and
order
put it
filled.
here for the time being. Duplicate it and put this one back up at the top. Okay, so we've got this
Order
mountain peak
filled.
from 2 days ago at 28 that seems to be holding.
Order submitted.
And then the next
Order
one where we
filled.
traded quite a bit at is sitting at 17 near S2. So our blue line is going to be moved down to the top of that swing, and we'll leave this blue line here that was already there from before in place. Come on, retrace back up. Give us a couple of bars to retrace from. We don't want to just be taking it to take it. You're just going to crash and burn, are you?
What's that saying? Bears jump out of windows and bulls take the stairs.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, that's what I've heard in the past. Yeah.
I've actually not heard that one before. Yeah, this is expanding a little bit. And we've got our green line in the middle here somewhere. It's down here at the bottom. Yeah, when I see this, I don't know what to do with it. We're not in a channel.
Order
Right.
filled.
You can say, yeah, okay, look, we got a top here and a bottom here, but we're not really in a channel. We're actually grinding down a little bit. So see what happens. Come on back up. If this closes up, we get a blue bar. But look what happened at the last blue bar. In retrospect, the pullback that tapped the backside of this robot box would have been the trade to get in, but it happened just after 10. So that's just the way it is. So we've got a bar coming out of the robot box to the downside, got S2 with lots of resistance. Let's see if we can get a nice launching pad over here with this box that's being built at the moment. Lots of up and down. There's no real support here. None. We're kind of in the middle. .30-minute bar. We've got 22 minutes in it, and it's screaming all the way down. Trading at 50. It's 30 points in this one bar. All right, so if we get a bar that closes up and then closes down, similar to what we have here, we can try and pick it up down to the next level over here, but I'm not going to touch it otherwise.
Order submitted. Order filled.
None of our 3 bars would have survived. Well, this guy here would have survived for 4. We haven't had anything else. So we've got a 3 bar here off of S2. Still lots of selling going on. So we've got 160 buying, 120 buying at this level. These could be just exits. There's another 113 buy. we have our value area high. Okay, let me click the F to get my price over here. We've got the value area high from 2 days back sitting over here. So we gave back everything that we made yesterday, mostly in just one bar here. Big push down, another big push down. I don't trust it to go long. Remember, when you see the moving average kind of in the upper left corner and working its way down, you should be concentrating mostly on shorts. The two places where we could have gotten in, this was too soon. This guy here didn't have a retrace. And we
Order
haven't had
submitted.
any more than one bar in a row. Actually, we've had 2 bars here rising.
Order submitted.
Another short bar. Come on up a little bit, will you?
Order submitted.
The minute that you go short here after a big run like this is the minute that you regret it. I'm sorry, the minute that you go short down, way down here without a pullback. Our POCs are what is still staying at the same place as before, but our lines are shifting up. The value area lines, we've got a whole slew of lines in the middle here. I don't know if anyone's taken any shorts in the middle of this, but give me 2 bars, and then I'll consider it. Oh, there's 2 bars. Right up to the top. It's good. All set up for a retrace back down. We got our beep telling us that it's going to try to take a short. We're at the top of the robot box. Trades down. This is something that we're looking for. This is the first time that we've actually had 3 bars rising in a row. And if you're going to come on up to the next robot box and then close down. So it taps our purple line to the T. You can see that that's our 12 1/4. And price came to, I'm taking my scroll wheel, pushing it down. The low of that bar is 12 1/4. Touched it to a T. Okay, here comes our short. If it closes down.
Order filled.
There we go. Let's see if it follows through, gives us first target. And you're serious? You're going to actually come up back and tap us? Okay, there's the selling coming in. Come on down. You got to have it retrace all the way back down. Tap that bottom line. I've got my second target down at the bottom, not too far from the low. If it makes it down, I'm going to let it sit there. I either make a lot or I make nothing. Okay, there's 2 ticks, 3 ticks. I'm asking for 6 on that first target. I moved it down a little bit. That way it gives me a little bit more wiggle room at the top. You should have had
Target
first target
filled.
if you're sitting at 4. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to move it at -6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my stop is sitting at 40 at 2050. If this thing makes its way down all the way down to the bottom, I'll make my day all in one shot. Otherwise, I got a scratch trade. We've had a nice pullback. This is the first pullback decent pullback that we've had the whole time. I'm not going to just make 4 ticks on it. And we're trading in and around S2. If it makes its way down and retests that low that we were at, that would be a logical place to get out. So that's 2 points in it so far. 3 points in it. Lots of selling. Okay, 4 ticks from my target. We got 500 people trying to get out at the price that I'm at. I'm going to take my target. I'm going to move it 1 tick in front of them. And after all this, I'm not going to be giving too much of it back. If it closes down, I'm going to take 17 as an exit. Come on down. Not too close. Still 512 orders sitting in front of me. 1 tick further down. There's 4 points in this trade.
Stop filled.
All right. It made target for the day. I should have grabbed that target and tightened it up a little bit more, but we still made target after stupidity down at the start of the day. So we've actually recovered 400 and change. Let's see if it gives us another trade right in and around this vicinity with a bar that closes down. And I'm going to do it with 1 and short on close.
Order filled.
We traded a little bit higher than our previous range. Should give us 4 ticks. Oh, and our POC hasn't moved any. We're still a good ways away from it. So there's 3. So just wait for the good trades, right? Wait for them to do this little business with the shenanigans a little bit further up, come back down. And yeah, you look at this and say, oh, Tony, you missed this whole big run, right? The minute that you get in is when it goes against you. So, take your trade, follow our rules, right? Market's mostly down, right? It likely is going to continue, and wait for them to come back into a zone where it's logical that they would pause for a moment. And then you don't have to take massive bites, right? That last trade, I left $100 and something on the table. I should have actually tightened that up when it left it for the second time, but it went really quickly. So this one here looks like it may follow through all the way, but that's okay. I've made my target for the day. It doesn't matter that you leave a whole bunch of money on. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make your targets and do your thing. All right, so I am going to be trading a little bit more with Justin later on at 10:30. We're going to do it here in the room. If anyone wants to join us, you're welcome to stay. I'm going to have him share his screen. We'll be talking about the setups. Justin's new. If you want to join us, we'll spend another half hour doing our thing.